So I know we have listeners all over the world. My name is Krete. I'm the CEO of GDPR Register. And today we're going to talk about privacy without borders, different strategies, smart moves for today's privacy leaders as the world is continuing to evolve. It's becoming more and more diverse and more nuanced. And it's good to have like an overview about different tactics, strategies, how to win in this compliance game. So today we're going to talk about all of that complicated topics, but in a very easily and practical manner. And I have with me Aakritee Tiwari today. So hi, Aakritee.
Hi.
Nice to meet you, and I'm so happy that you were willing to share your knowledge and your expertise and your journey also in the compliance road. So currently, you're the head of legal and compliance officer in VeeOne. It's like global aviation and rail crew planning service provider. But you have like a very, very diverse background and global as well. Like maybe you can share like what has led you here and your past experience.
Thank you so much for such a warm welcome. And I would use the legal word non-standard. So I have had a very non-standard legal career. So I'm originally from India, worked in India, then moved to Dubai, worked to Dubai, then moved to Sweden. And my work in India and Dubai was very business, heavily business related. So it was always about contracts or creating policies or strategies. Privacy had a very little part. But when I moved to Sweden, or when I moved to Europe, that is when I was put in the pool of privacy. Privacy was the thing which was very, very important. Privacy was one of the essentials. Privacy was as important as closing the contract or signing the contract. So that was my moment when I evolved also like a student. So I became more curious of how privacy is evolving, and even looking it from the perspective of, oh, if the jurisdiction is different, the privacy would look differently. And you cannot have like one template, even though the origin of the law is from one, then the domestic laws would be different. And how would that impact if you are drafting a clause or if you're drafting a contract? So it's been a very, very exciting journey, and I'm really looking forward to sharing my experience.
Thank you, and happy to have you here. So today we're going to talk about tactics and strategy, and in the long run, which is not the most common topics for a privacy lawyer, because you work with the regulation, you work with the text, you work with the people, but you also have to keep in mind like the bigger picture and where the business is going, how to align yourself with that. And as usual, we will talk about different blocks. We have different polls coming up. And in the end, we have different opportunities to take questions. So the audience, feel free to pop your questions into the chat, ask us whatever comes into your mind. So in the end, we will cover them as well. So, Aakritee, when we first had our initial call, it was a couple months ago. I had the sense of passion from you that I find quite rare in these words, because we're always like really focused on like let's do a job and let's cut to the point. But I sense you have a passion for your work. Where does it come from? Is it like past experience? Is it like the joy of learning? Maybe you can share a little bit of that as well.
I think if I look back, it has been the trait of being curious. So As a child, I was very curious, and even like as an adult, I was very curious. And then how my career trajectory went, that I moved from country to country, that um, required me to be very adaptive.
Mhm.
Being adaptive and being curious on how things work, why do they work this way, how do I strategize, or how do I create a structure that would be best suited for this jurisdiction. So I think if I sum it up, it is curiosity, pure curiosity to know, okay, why this is how it is, and how do I make it better.
Mhm. I would actually say that this is like a superpower. So,
Mm,
because when we are, as you mentioned, children, we have a lot of curiosity how this works, these why questions pop up. And as you're a mother of twins, I think you also have these like all the time, every day. But as we grow older, we tend to like chip away a little bit of it. Like we lack this. So I think this is like maybe like the first recommendation: stay curious.
mm,
Be curious about how things work, what's the why behind different processes and decisions. And I think this like really ties into like privacy as well, because the world is changing so fast, technology is advancing. So tomorrow's world will be a little bit different than yesterday's world and today's world. So so how we have structured this webinar is when we talk about like tactics and then strategy. When we talk about tactics, it's like this, like what can you do like now, like to have the effect today, tomorrow, as soon as possible. So these are like this, like hanging fruits from the apple tree, like that you can pick and you can see like the effect right away. So and privacy, as you mentioned, is also tied down like different like parts of the world, how people have the cultural background. It's like this cross country compliance. So what are the biggest like blind spots that companies miss currently, and what are they facing? How to avoid it? Like the biggest blind spots in your opinion?
mm. So the common blind spot that I've seen, and let me take the three jurisdiction: India, and the UAE, and in Sweden, it is internal clarity.
Mm-hmm.
So what we lack, the internal clarity. Again, the how of things are happening. Then it is how your data flows, and how often are you relooking at the template that you have created that captures privacy. How often are you looking at privacy clauses? How often are you looking at the agreements that you've signed? And how often are you looking at how did the transaction evolve? Did it require maybe an amendment to add something which was missing in the privacy clause, or did it require an amendment to add something which was there in the annexure, which was a privacy um, um, protection of privacy agreement? So it is internal clarity, and a general word is reflection. How often are we reflecting of how the entire process went? Was there any amendment, and are we using those reflection and uh, adding them in the next agreement that we do?
And I think this also like ties back to like business is like a circle. It's a process, and so should like legal be. It's not from start to finish. It's also like a reflections, like how can we improve, what were the mistakes that were made, how we can like avoid mistakes in the future. But anything else? Any other like reflections from you that you have seen that companies, big corporate companies, are also missing, like out or ignoring?
I would not say ignoring, but I would say we as the lawyers that are working in the company, or the data privacy professionals that are working in the company, our plate is already full.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
We have very limited time to, like I said, to reflect how did the entire process go, Is any of my colleague facing some issue that I could help? Are we in? Do we have the capacity of taking feedback that maybe my marketing has identified that, oh, this was a gap? So do we have that possibility? Because ultimately it sums up that how fast your negotiation would go.
Mm-hmm.
And if you have that internal clarity, if you know, okay, this is how my data flows, and that would reflect on how you are drafting the contract.
Mm-hmm.
If you know, okay, am I a third party processor? What do I need to do?
Mm-hmm.
If you understand the transaction, then you know, okay, there is not that much of privacy information that is shared, or maybe there is no information that is shared. So do you actually need the clause? Maybe not. Because a lot of the time it is we use templates, and it is very common to use templates, and the templates are created to cover everything.
Mm-hmm.
But some transactions are very custom made. You don't need to cover everything, because not everything is happening in that transaction. So again, the key word here, I would say clarity. If you have internal clarity of what the transaction involves, that is when you can speed up the entire process. And that is that one blind spot. If that is the check, then it's a green light.
Yeah, and that's what we were talking before the webinar started as well, like how legal can actually be an enabler instead of blocker with unnecessary clauses. And I think it ties down to like internal alignment. Is everyone in the company and also in different teams aligned, like what we want to achieve? And sometimes you have like this patches on your eyes. You just do, you don't like think and analyze. But sometimes it's like, okay, let's take a pause and think what we're going to actually do, like what's the effect and what's the consequences. And as you mentioned, agreements, different, it's I would say like overall different documentations, and how to actually align them throughout different jurisdictions, like what's the magic formula there as well, because different jurisdictions, different rules, different templates. Like, can we just have like one?
That would be such a blessing if we could use one, but I don't think that is a possibility. So the way I look at it, there should be modular template. So you have a model template of which captures, okay, your line of business, what could be your role and responsibility, what are your customers. Then either that modular agreement should have an annexure that talks about privacy, captures what you are supposed to do, and the definitions and everything should be very clear. Or the other option could be you have jurisdiction specific templates. That saves a lot of time. The creation is a lot of investment of time, but once you have jurisdiction specific agreements ready, that is a massive savior of time, because you've customized every template to that jurisdiction. And if there is any change in the privacy law of that jurisdiction, you just need to change that template itself.
Mm-hmm.
And also I would really like, or the way I have seen good companies function, is maintaining a centralized clause library. Again, it is an investment of time, but it gives you a great benefit. So if you have a template ready which shows you, okay, these are the provisions that are highly negotiated, like data transfer, like retaining of information, like what would be the role of a data privacy officer. So if you have that document ready, you can just pick that information and put it in the template, which is, for example, for the jurisdiction Sweden only. And I pick the clause and I paste it there. So if these things, these two aspects are in place, that's a real win.
Yeah, it's like a Lego you put together.
Huh? Yes.
So yeah, I went to a networking event a couple of weeks ago, and I talked to a founder of one Estonian AI company, like lots of data, and then he said that, oh, I use ChatGPT to draft my agreements, and what's the problem there? So what you do would you say like to that founder who says that I only use ChatGPT? It's like no point to involve a lawyer anymore.
I would say you are using ChatGPT, which is really nice. I am someone who is very vocal about using AI, because the more you use technology, the more you know, okay, what is working for me, what is not working for me, and where do I create that line. But it is important to understand that any platform is using the information that it has. Whereas if you involve a lawyer, a lawyer would, or a data privacy professional would have their series of experiences with other teams in the organization and outside the organization. So that is such an added value which a platform cannot give you. A platform might be able to give you a structure. Okay, this is how your template should look like. But a privacy professional or a privacy lawyer can help you customize, or I would go to the extent of saying can foresee. Okay, this is the transaction, this is what we are doing, this is what we are exchanging. This could be the risk. Because a platform is very like now, it is helping you now. But when it is a transaction, like a contract, it is always for the future, the risk that could be in the future. And that is when the role of a privacy professional or a professional becomes really important, because a professional can foresee, and they have their expertise in it. And they have had similar or maybe altogether different situation, which could be an overlap to the current situation.
Absolutely, and I would say like lawyers, generally speaking, privacy professionals, DPOs, they have like this like magic ball that you like look and you have this like understanding, like we have to prepare for this because this is going to happen in the future. What I see, like current AI, it lacks context. It doesn't know your business that well. It doesn't have that kind of imagination, like because like laws give you a leeway. It's like, as I've described, it's a lot of gray. So you have to find the right tone of gray and forward with this, and you have a lot of like interpretation. So and I think like what current AI is lacking is this imagination, to think outside the box, to have creativity. And currently it can be a very high risk if you just take it blindly, what it says, and when you implement it, because you don't know what you actually are going to sign, what's going to future be. So the human element, I would say it's like trust your lawyer. So to have that kind of the crystal ball.
Yes. That actually reminds me of a conversation I was having with one of my friends. And this friend, he is a lawyer in an airline company. So airline company have agreement with catering companies, because airlines need food when they fly for the passengers. So now this airline company entered into a new agreement with a new catering company. Now this catering company sends an agreement to the airline company, and there is a huge annexure that talks about privacy. Now, in this transaction, where you're just giving food boxes to an airline company, there is no exchange of privacy information. You do not need an annexure that talks about privacy. So again, it could be a platform which is generating this contract, or it could be AI that is generating this contract. It is capturing everything. But would adding an annexure to an agreement where you're just selling food,
Mhm.
would that accelerate the process of signing the document, or would it pause it?
Yeah, keep it to the point.
Yes.
Absolutely, and you just took like a pause and think about it. I think it's just you have these like blinders on and you just rush and but there is no point. If there is no personal data, you don't have to start regulating it.
Yes.
And I think that is also like these like maybe a little bit like funny examples like for lawyers show actually where these myths come from that legal is a blocker and let's do business and focus on how to enable it, not to block it. So I think that's a really good example. And maybe you can also elaborate on the fact that as you have such a like a global experience, different negotiations, jurisdictions, have you ever seen like these like different attempts to copy paste GDPR to different regulations? Like how does that have turned out if you just start forcing it without thinking of local context?
So taking into consideration the two jurisdiction where the relationship is forming is very, very important, and GDPR is very critical. The reason why I say it's very critical because if you get something wrong, the consequences are really high, and the consequences are monetary consequences. It comes down to financial consequences, which is for any company really high. And then I would go to the extent of saying that it is also a consequence to the reputation. So if you are GDPR in compliant, or if you have received a notification from a regulator, that does not look good for any company. So approach to a privacy issue should be very, very catered to the jurisdiction that the professional is working in. And the framework should be right to that particular jurisdiction. It can be wide if you are if you have a template in place, but it should be always be customized. That is the right way, I would say. So the better approach, from what I've seen in my experience, is start with the business risk. So like you said, Legos. So start with the business risk, then layer it with the local compliance. Okay, what does the local law say? Then design your privacy tailored to the transaction itself. Like again, going back to the example of the food company giving food packages to the airline company. So I start with the business risk. What could be the business risk? Then I see, okay, local compliance. These are both parties based in one country. Okay, then I go to privacy by design. So do I need to tailor anything privacy? Maybe yes. Maybe there are information of passengers shared, wherein we say, okay, 10 vegan food for these people, and 100 non-veg and 50 veg for these people. So maybe you are sharing information. So like you said, again, Lego, it should be like layers and layers and layers, and then you customize your approach towards what should be in that document.
Absolutely.
Mm.
And I also had this like scenario in mind because we have like a different like global group level DPOs in the audience as well. So if you had like 30 days and you are like freshly appointed group compliance privacy officer, and you have to align privacy compliance all over Europe, Middle East, Asia, where would you start? What would you do within these 30 days?
So like we talked in the when we started, I am a curious person. So I would start by knowing what is there in the company. Now, what is there in the company? There are documents. What kind of documents? So I would invest my time in mapping how the data flows and identifying, okay, these are the jurisdiction where my company is working. I would take an Excel and I would put it from the high risk to the low risk. Okay, now I know, okay, these many contracts have been signed. This is how the data flows. This is a very, very high risk jurisdiction, and this is the lowest. So now I know how do I need to prioritize. Then it would be about prioritizing the contracts, which are the company contracts. Then it would be prioritizing the vendor relationship or the vendor contracts. Then I would invest my time in setting up how does my role work together with the other role in the organization. Are we able to work smoothly? How is the cross functioning happening? Because if you are a privacy professional or you are a legal counsel that takes care of privacy, you are very, very closely working with operations and IT. So having that clear communication channel where you can share your thoughts and share your concerns and share learnings, because lot many time an issue would come to a lawyer or a privacy professional when it's been escalated. But if and it at the start it would come to maybe the IT. So if I can learn from them, I can incorporate those risks already in my privacy compliance sheet or in my privacy compliance mapping handbook. And then it would be about focusing on the framework which is already available, because you gave me a timeline of 30 days.
30 days.
So there is I need to manage my time well. So I would use the existing frameworks which are already there, like global cross-border privacy rules, or it could be a process which has been already established, or maybe using AI. AI is really good. It could help me maybe generate a table of how I should capture a data. Because again, if I am short of time, I need to manage my time well.
True. Yeah. And when you have, you also mentioned in earlier in our conversation that the table is always full. Whereas like things are like piling up. It's like how do you structure everything in this chaos? And of course, there is like expectations, like expectations when you're a new person joining. What kind of pace will you set for your time in the company? But also people who have been in the position for years, and they want to actually see the effect that the person has for the company. What's the value that you bring to the company? Because focus is the biggest resource that we all have, and we don't manage it in the best way, I would say, mostly, because you can get caught up with different lights that are blinking on you, and it also comes to the point when management also may approach you, like, what are you actually doing, and how are you impacting the whole global compliance landscape? And please keep the conversation going for our audience as well. Ask questions and very actionable steps from Krete. So now when we switch to the strategic side, I would take this like management situation, because I hear so many like of my different privacy colleagues like asking that like they understand why privacy is important, and they see that things are not progressing as well. Things are not picking up. People are not investing their time into the privacy input and giving it to the privacy teams. So how to approach management to say, like, we need to act and this is serious? Like, how would you do it in that scenario? Would you approach management yourself What would you say? When would you say it? Like how, what context, what way, what proof would you need?
Mm. My reflection of how an advisory department, like it could be the privacy or sustainability or the legal or the finance, they are looked at like magicians. So you have some magic trick, you come in, you wave your wand, and then voila, now everything is fine. But it nobody wants to know how did you do it, because there is not that much of time. You just want the magician to come, the privacy council to come. Oh, now everything is okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, from my understanding, it requires a shift in the company's approach where they understand that privacy is a strategic enabler. It can enable you.
Mm-hmm.
And the way I look at it, legal, now I would, when I say legal, also I would add privacy. Legal is such a big strength.
Mm-hmm.
It is such a big advantage if you have a good legal structure. But then it comes on us, the privacy professionals, us, the lawyers, to create that awareness. Like, how am I doing the magic? It is my responsibility to let the company know. But again, like I said, our plates are full.
Mm-hmm.
But we should carve out some time where we tell the company, oh, this is how I did the magic.
Mm-hmm.
How do we do that? We link privacy risk with operational and financial impact, because this is not seen. So if a contract goes very well, it goes well.
Mm-hmm.
And you do not see why it went well. It went well because it was drafted considering what could go wrong, considering that, okay, this was the transaction happening, this is the amount of information which is exchanged, which qualifies which qualifies under the definition of data privacy, and it was a job well done. So having a table wherein I am able to tell that, okay, this was the privacy risk, this is how it was avoided, so the financial and the operational impact, and create a metrics, share it with the leadership. It should be reported, it must be reported. So if and leadership understands numbers. So
True.
if you have numbers in place, if you have, and leadership loves Excel. So if you have a Excel which is short and crisp, and which talks about, okay, this is how the privacy lawyer, or the data privacy professional or the legal counsel could avoid risk, this is what we saved, that is when they know, okay, this was how the magic trick was done.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely, and I think like privacy metrics is not often talked about in mainstream privacy literature, newsletters, articles. It's like, how do you actually measure your work? Like it's you can't just say it went well, or this is like lagging behind and I don't have enough resources. Show me the data. This is like management. Show me the data. What's the statistics? Why do you think this is happening? If you don't have a proof to back up, when it's just empty words, and then you can't put like the machinery into the shift gears. And I think like how privacy professionals can actually have, as you mentioned, like input back to the businesses, like how to avoid risk, what's the risk strategy even. And I think this is like how privacy, if you are visible, people will include you because they know what you bring to the table. And this is to actively also put your name in there, in the company communications. If they have like all hands meetings, go show what you do. Actually, people don't know. People don't
Yes.
know actually. And the funny thing was also when a couple years ago, maybe 5-6 years ago, time goes very fast. It's like, what does even a DPO mean? Is it like Dublin Philharmonic Orchestra? Like, what do you do? Like people don't know, and to avoid these acronyms as well, like show actually like what you do in simple words. And it's all about cooperation, sharing information, reflecting back, and is there any like more magic tricks to improve cooperation practice?
Yes. Like I said in one of the points, that interaction with the other departments of the company is very important. Like, let's look at it from the company point of view. You have HR. Oh, do we have this policy? I go to the HR. Oh, I need to take my vacation. I go to the HR. Very, very visible role. IT. Oh, my headset is not working. Oh, no, today I'm working from home. My system doesn't work. Oh, the printer is not working. A very, very visible role. But then when it comes down to, or even like finance, my salary slip doesn't look okay. Again, a very, very visible role. But when it comes down to a data privacy professional, not a very visible role. It is a job. If the job is done well, you would never know that it was a job that was done. Only when the job is not well done, if you have a notice from the regulator, then is when you know, oh, there was this thing which was not done well. So that is when the role becomes visible. So that so then it is very important that how the other departments of the company interact, and how easy the transfer of information is. That's very important. That is how you make the role or the department very integral, because you are working together with the IT, you are working together with the finance to accomplish a goal, which is avoiding risk. And one of your thoughts were that how do you map it? So you are avoiding the risk, which is the fine. So the fine is the implication. So you already have like numbers in place. If the job is well done, you would not get a notice from the regulator, and you would not get the fine.
Yeah.
And then adding it up with maybe the transaction was happening between Sweden and let's say, for example, UK. So then you have to engage a lawyer or a law firm in UK. So that is again an added cost. So to sum it up, shared accountability, when the other functions of the company also know what you are doing, and visibility is very, very important. And then you have the possibility of sharing feedback. So when you know, okay, this is what went wrong and this is how we do it, and building that trust. Okay, this is what my privacy colleague is doing, this is what the impact it has, and this is how we align together and reach to our final goal, which is avoiding a notice from the regulator. That is how it should be. And taking from the question that you said, and the word is collaboration. So the better the collaboration is, the better you are aware what the other function in the company is doing. The better the awareness, the more effective the result is.
Absolutely. One topic that DPOs, compliance officers, are always like ask is like, okay, but if we do this and we ignore your advice, how much fine will we get? Like how many millions, or like what do you even say to that question?
I would say our task as professionals is avoidance of risk. And any risk is a big risk. It doesn't matter if it is millions. It doesn't matter if it is few hundred thousands. It is a risk. And if I look at it as a professional, a risk is a risk. And if there is a risk, my job is not well done. And that is where I would say a full stop.
And sometimes the millions may not be the biggest fine. The biggest fine is when you have like reputational damage, or you have to close down your service. That means your clients won't be happy. You can't provide services or goods. That means can lead to bankruptcy as well. And I think that is also often ignored. We think that the money is the fine, but there can be even more serious consequences. And when you think about like these different trends that were happening in the world, and you also work very closely with your management, is it like discussed like the different privacy global trends, like the AI, localizations, different transfers, and does it pop up like what's happening in the world? How are we preparing for the future, and how should the leaders prepare for it? So how to stay ahead? What has been your input or take on this topic, like when we have to take the crystal ball out again?
I would say, and this is I've learned from my personal experience, being adaptive. The more you are adaptive, the more mature you can be for a situation which we would call a risk. So when I say adaptive, I would break it down to adaptive to how the transaction went. Like we discussed, were there any amendments in the clauses, and how was the impact if it went to good, reflecting. Then adapting to the new regulations. If there is any change in the regulation, how early do you have the possibility of reading that regulation and understanding what the change is? Again, our plate is full. We need to add on, or I would say we need to carve out time to really know, okay, what was the regulation, how does it impact it, because maybe one of my subsidiary company is based in that jurisdiction and this would imply to me. Then how flexible is your framework, which meaning the template that you can make that change, you can be adaptive to that change. And how well are you or how early are you informing your leadership that this is the change that happened, and this would impact our company which is in this jurisdiction, and I have already made the change in the agreement, so we are ready. Again, tying up to the same point, visibility. So as a DPO, if I know, okay, there has been a change in let's say for example Dubai. I know that my company does business in Dubai. I know that there would be a change that has to be reflected in the agreements. I have done the change. Now, my future templates would reflect that change. It is my responsibility, again, to tell my leadership that I have done it and we are ready for the future.
And I think this is also like the power of details as well. Like you actually like show that you are proactive. You think where the business wants to scale. And usually when the scaling phase, you want to like evolve very, very fast, expand to new markets. And the time frames there can be very, very, very short. Like how do you keep up with everything that's happening in the world yourself, different jurisdictions, like where do you get your knowledge? Like different AI regulations are coming up regionally, privacy laws, then consumer laws, technical topics. Like where do you get your information? Like
again, I would go back to my personal life. Earlier, when I was not a wife and not a mother, I had quite a lot of time. So I could read journals, I could read articles, I could read newsletters, I could attend a lot of webinars because I had a lot of time that I could invest in this. Now, when I have an evolved role in my professional life and personal life, I have to perform other roles as well.
True.
So I have a very limited window of time. And that is a disadvantage, because I need quicker information. I need to know things quickly. I need to read things fast, so I know. So now what I've done, a change that I brought into my learning part of my journey was, now I follow a lot of good newsletters that talk about privacy. I follow on LinkedIn. I follow a lot of professionals who talk about privacy. And also, like you and Marit, you are quite active on posting what is happening, because I have a limited amount of time, and I must know what is happening. Now, how do I must know what is happening? The easy thing is scrolling, reading, and then reflecting. Or does this impact me? If it impacts me, how do I need to strategize? How do I need to plan my schedule wherein I can implement this change in the policy, maybe. And then I need to also inform my manager, okay, this is what was proposed, this is what the change has been done, and we are ready for the future. So that is how I deal with it. It's been working okay for me.
Yeah, and you're also very active on posting in LinkedIn and sharing useful information to other people, because we live in an information society. There's like a lot of data going on. Everyone is writing about something, unique angles, details, bigger topics. And I think this is like what currently happening in the world is like a bigger shift. Like the expectations towards lawyers, professionals, it's shifting. Like what is expected from us, it's, I think, and it has become like more nuanced. We have to understand the global economy, business, risk management, auditing, technical topics, information security, about AI basics, communications, negotiations, drafting, documentation, legal relevance. And I think it is quite a lot. So it's not just about you draft your agreement and you read the law. It's way much more. And I think this is how lawyers here can level up with curiosity as well, when they see that how it's going to benefit them in the future as well. And the more you ask, the more information you can condense, and then that's where the magic can happen, I would say, magic tricks. And as we are approaching the end of our webinar, still let the questions flow if you want to ask something from Aakritee. And I would say like a question that I always ask from my webinar a guest, like if there is like this one thing that you would like the audience to take with them from today's discussions, what would it be?
I would say being curious, being open to the change that is happening. That when I say the change, it is AI, because I have seen the privacy or the legal team becoming leaner. Traditionally, it used to be, okay, there would be a privacy team, there would be a legal team, a compliance team, or at least one person in every team. But now, with platforms coming in, there is a contract management platform which has replaced a contract lawyer. There has been a privacy platform which has replaced a privacy lawyer. But then there would be one legal counsel who looks at every platform, or the team would be like a 3-member team or a 4-member team, not as big as it used to be traditionally. So being curious, I think it is a non-negotiable for all of us. The more curious we are, the more adaptive we are, the more we know how do we prep for the future, because that is what we do. We avoid risk, and the risk is happening in the future. So That would be the tip, I would say.
It's very interesting, like how you have like I would honestly say like pragmatic approach, like through the prism of risks. It's not through regulation or a law or a clause or anything legal related. It's like very business pragmatic approach. And I think sometimes in the companies, they don't have an understanding what the risks are. There is no visibility. There is no understanding who the risk owner is, who should make decisions, what should the decisions be, what are the possibilities of mitigating risks, accepting risks, how to document it. And we see like Europe is very risk angle, like every like regulation is based on risk. And I think it gives a lot of leeway to companies as well to decide like how they want to approach different topics. It doesn't have to be the most expensive possibility or the most burdensome. It can be very like easy process as well. And when we look through the innovation that I think every company is looking currently, how to innovate, how to be unique, how to stand out from the market, it can be like a legal superpower there as well, like that. And I think the biggest compliment that the management can also say, or different legal to legal teams, that like we have like an awesome legal team, and this is like the culture that you want to cultivate. Like I'm here for you, and I'm here to support the business. And I think Aakritee, you have totally showed that there are such magical unicorns out there who truly enjoy their work and have very sparkle in the eye, and the curiosity as a superpower. And it's just building the blocks, building the Lego, and it's a step-by-step process. And in the companies, it can be also a change that you can start. Like and in different companies, we also have change management policies, like how to start the change in companies, and it's how we eat the elephant as well, like bit by piece. So, and it's also like you are the face of legal in your company and in privacy, and you are very approachable, very good communicator, good collaborator, and I think this is a very good enabler for good good way to approach this topic. Is there anything else you would like to add to our today's discussion? Anything that we didn't discuss today? Any advice, practical tips?
The only thing that maybe I would say, reflecting on how there was this Russia and Ukraine issue, and then there was the tariffs that happened in the US. I think we as lawyers and we as data privacy professionals should also be reading how the geopolitical environment is in a way maybe or will influence the change in the law, because the way I look at it, Asia and the Middle East would soon have their own data localization. Earlier there was a transfer, and earlier there were other countries which were considered, oh, let's secure our data here. But it doesn't look like that. So again, the wonderful word that you used was pragmatic. So how can you think about the future by understanding what is the change happening now? How are you creating the framework wherein you're mapping everything and you are ready when something happens?
Absolutely. It's preparing for the future and knowing your context. So thank you, Aakritee. It's been like a very, very fascinating conversation. So thank you. So this webinar is also has been recorded. So this recording will go up on our website. We will share this with our audience, different listeners for the future. And we will also have written summaries about today's topic. And next webinar is going to happen in November 5th. You can register for that already. So for next time, we have Maria, who has previously in our May's webinar talking about AI toolkit for DPOs. And I think this is also what the Krete you touched today. ChatGPT is not the devil. It is a tool, and how to use it, what kind of opportunities it gives us, and what to automate, what not to automate. And I think this is like a really fascinating discussion with Maria, who's a senior privacy lawyer in Nebius. It's a large AI data infrastructure provider. So that's happening in November. So looking forward to all of you next time. Thank you again, and good luck with everyone's privacy challenges that we're facing, and hope today's discussion helped to build a little bit of new layers into your initial knowledge. So stay curious, everyone. Thank you.